You're something beautiful, electrochemical.
Ever wonder about those hidden chapters? You know, the ones that really shape a character you already feel like you know.
Oh, absolutely. How those first moments, those initial meetings can spark a whole chain of events.
Especially in a world just packed with secrets,
Yeah.
right? And maybe even tech we can barely imagine.
Yeah, it's fascinating to peel back those layers, to see where those familiar traits actually come from and how small things can put someone on a path that changes everything.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're digging into today. So if you're a fan of the Decryptor Thriller series, get ready. We're doing a proper deep dive into the very beginning.
We're looking at Helium Heist. It's the first book in Rose Sandy's spin-off series, the Nash Shields thrillers.
And this is where it all kicks off. We get the origin story for Nash Shields, a name I'm sure rings a bell for Decryptor fans, and crucially, his very first encounter with Calla Cress.
That pivotal moment, it's really the foundation.
Right. So our mission today, it's really to show you why Helium Heist is just essential reading if you love smart thrillers, and of course, if you're already hooked on the Decryptor world.
Yeah, we'll get into the characters, those early mysteries, the story itself, and some of the big ideas Rose Sandy plays with.
And we promise no major spoilers. We want you to experience the twist yourself. Our whole chat today is based on Rose Sandy's book, Helium Heist.
Okay, let's jump in.
All right, Nash Shields. We know him from the Decryptor series, but this book takes us way back. What's our first look at him here?
Well, Sandy doesn't waste any time. The book literally opens with a gunshot and bam, Nash reacts instantly.
Instincts kicking in.
Exactly, drawing his weapon. And the line, years of training had conditioned his body. It tells you immediately this guy is highly skilled, highly trained, even before the main plot really gets going.
He's clearly got the background.
Yeah.
But there's also this feeling he wants out, doesn't it? He's ignoring calls from the White House, no less.
Yeah. Right. And that reluctance, it says a lot about where he is mentally at this point, maybe a bit weary, disillusioned perhaps with that whole world. Those calls are pulling him back into something he seems to be actively trying to avoid. Makes you ask what he's already been through, you know?
Definitely. Which makes the reasons he does get pulled back in even stronger. What are those catalysts? What forces his hand?
It's really two things kind of tangled together. First, family trouble. His father calls him about missing money. A breach of trust right there.
Okay.
And at the same time, maybe hitting closer to home, is the mystery around his brother, Foster. He's disappeared.
Ah, so it's personal.
Deeply personal. So Nash has this internal conflict, right? This sense of duty, needing to find out about Foster, butting right up against his desire for distance, and frankly, a history of broken trust within his own family.
That broken trust theme feels pretty strong even early on. He thinks about his parents' divorce, his brother's past choices. It paints a picture.
It does. He's carrying some weight.
And we get these hints of his impressive service record too. 3 tours, Distinguished Service Cross, Camp Peary training. How does that background shape him in these early stages?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental. It's the core of who Nash is. His discipline, his tactical mind, how he stays cool under pressure, it all comes from that military foundation.
It's his framework.
It is. It's the bedrock for the skills he uses later as an operative, the skills he falls back on when he gets dragged back into this world.
So he heads to London, kind of reluctantly, for what looks like a simple embassy security job. But this being a Rose Sandy novel, things don't stay simple, do they?
Not for long. Even when he first gets there, there's this feeling that something's off. He feels like he's being watched, just this low-level unease.
Setting the mood.
Exactly. And then comes the coded message from Mueller. Storage B7, research needed, watch for Robin. That just blows the whole routine security job idea out of the water.
Right, suddenly it's something much bigger.
Much bigger, and way more dangerous.
And then these shadowy figures appear. Cook, KG-20 Ops. Who are they? How do they change the game for Nash?
Well, Cook and KJ-20 Ops, they represent a whole other level of threat. They're involved in really advanced, almost sci-fi level technologies. There's mention of a Helium-3 containment vessel, for instance.
Helium-3, okay.
Yeah, these aren't just spies, they're operatives dealing with stuff way beyond normal intelligence work. It signals that Nash has stumbled into something incredibly complex, potentially with global stakes.
And this ties back to his brother, Foster, somehow. That personal connection gets stronger here.
It gets critical here. This is where the personal mission and this bigger tech-driven plot just slammed together.
How so?
We find out Foster was also looking into one of these advanced technologies specifically related to helium-3 fusion right before he disappeared.
Ah, okay, so finding Foster means understanding this tech.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suddenly, uncovering what happened to his brother is directly linked to figuring out what KJ-20 Ops is up to and what these potentially world-changing technologies really are. It gives Nash this incredibly powerful personal drive.
That mix of personal stakes and a huge conspiracy that's classic thriller fuel, isn't it?
It really is. It hooks you on multiple levels.
Now, something I know a lot of Decryptor fans are really keen on is seeing Nash and Calla Cress meet for the first time. Can you set that scene for us? How do their paths cross initially?
Right, the big meet-cute thriller style. It happens at the British Museum. Great setting, right? Full of history, secrets.
Correct.
So Nash is there, following leads on the mystery, and Cal's actually giving a presentation for an exhibition she curated on encrypted communication, interestingly enough.
Okay, fitting.
Their paths literally cross over a stolen artifact. That's the immediate connection point. But it's definitely laced with suspicion from the get-go. The museum atmosphere just adds to that feeling of hidden layers.
Suspicion sounds like the key word. What vibe do they get from each other initially?
Well, there's definitely an immediate intrigue. You can feel that. But it's wrapped up in caution. Nash, naturally, is sizing her up. He's trained for that.
I can't.
Calla, even as a researcher, she drops these little comments like, some objects aren't just historical, they're warnings. It hints she knows more than she's letting on.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah, it signals she's not just an academic, and Nash picks up on that. It's this great initial dance of sizing each other up, neither one showing their full hand. Really engaging if you like character dynamics.
So even right away, Sandy's dropping clues about Calla being more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
We know where she ends up in the Decryptor series, but how does this book start unveiling that without, giving it all away?
It's done really subtly. Through her observations about the artifact, her grasp of its significance beyond just history, her whole demeanor, really, it all suggests she's operating on a different level. Her full ISTF connection isn't spelled out immediately, obviously, but these early interactions definitely plant the seed. She's a major player with her own skills and agenda, and their shared interest in that artifact. That's the spark that starts weaving their stories together. It's a nice slow burn reveal.
Love a slow burn. Okay, the tension's definitely building. Now, staying spoiler-free, what happens next? How does Nash get pulled deeper into this KJ-20 Ops world and the Helium-3 mystery after meeting Calla?
Well, things really pick up pace. As Nash digs into the stolen artifact and this weird Helium-3 tech, he gets tangled deeper and deeper with KJ-20 Ops and their operatives.
What danger?
Definitely. We meet other key players, some potential allies, some definite adversaries, like Masher. And you start seeing hints of a much bigger conspiracy, something with global reach.
And that trust issue keeps coming back.
Absolutely. That theme of trust versus betrayal is always simmering. Nash is constantly trying to figure out who's on his side, who he can rely on in this world full of shadows. And the stakes just keep getting higher as the real implications of this technology become clearer. It definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Sounds like that perfect mix of action and brainpower that Rose Sandy does so well. Thinking about the fans, what key themes in Helium Heist do you think will really hit home, especially knowing where Nash ends up in the Decryptor series?
Oh, several themes really stand out. First, obviously, is origins. We're seeing Nash being forged, the experiences that make him the person we meet later. That foundation is crucial.
Yeah.
Then there's that trust versus betrayal motif again. Watching Nash navigate alliances, learning who to trust or not trust, it's central to his character arc.
And the action.
Oh yeah, fans will recognize Sandy's signature style. High-stakes action combined with real intellectual puzzles. It's not just about force, it's about figuring things out.
Right.
Plus, there's this cool theme of hidden history, secret technologies influencing today. It adds this extra layer. But ultimately, it's Nash's personal journey against this huge, threatening backdrop.
Okay, so let's pull it all together. Why should fans of the Decryptor thriller series, or frankly anyone who just loves a good thriller, pick up Helium Heist? Yeah. What makes it a must-read?
Well, first off, it is the origin story. If you like Nash Shields, this is where you see how he began. It's that foundational piece.
See where it all started.
Exactly. And you get to witness that crucial first meeting with Calla. See the very start of their, let's say, complex relationship.
Yeah, complex is a good word.
Plus, the book throws you right into this high-stakes world, introduces the tech, the shadowy groups that become so important later. And look, it's just a great thriller on its own. Rose Sandy's plot construction, the characters, the pacing, it just works.
That delivers the goods.
It really does. You get the action and suspense you expect, but also this deeper insight into Nash's past, his motivations, what drives him. It adds so much context.
Sounds completely unmissable, actually. So
Yeah.
for everyone listening who's now thinking, okay, I need to read this, where can they find Helium Heist?
Right. So Helium Heist, which is book one of the Nash Shields thrillers, and Rose Sandy's other books, too, they're available wherever you usually find great books.
Good bookstores, online platforms?
Exactly. Check your favorite spots. You might also find more info on the author's official website sometimes. Just make sure you're looking for the Nash Shields thrillers. Book one, Helium Heist by Rose Sandy.
Perfect. Okay, so to recap, Helium Heist, it's the thrilling origin story Decryptor fans have been waiting for. Nash's beginnings, his first meeting with Calla, this whole high-stakes world of secrets and tech.
Yep. Delving into those core themes. Trust, betrayal, the past shaping the present. All done in that gripping Rose Sandy style.
So here's a final thought for you, listening right now. We've talked about the beginning of Nash's journey. How do you think these first challenges, these early encounters and relationships we see in Helium Heist, how have they shaped the Nash Shields we know from the later Decryptor books?
Yeah, what seeds planted back then are still bearing fruit now? It's interesting to think about, isn't it?
It really is. Something to mull over. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Our pleasure.
We definitely encourage you to check out Helium Heist, maybe even reread the Decryptor series afterwards with all this new context. Until next time.
You're something beautiful.